Well, howdy, it's Tom Lohre back at the cafe here at Clifton Market with Jeff Brown, the manager.
How are you doing?
We're getting ready for opening day tomorrow. You're gonna be walking in the parade, right?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We'll have the banner for Clifton Market and supporting, Councilman Mann. And my daughter's gonna walk with me. She's talking about it. She's calling all her friends, calling our cousins. She's really excited about it. It's a great opportunity, not only for us, but to get the word out about the market and things like that. So.
Yes. My wife will be along. My partner will be with you tomorrow. Also, she was there last year with the banner. She carried it last year.
All right.
So it looks like it's going to be a great day.
Yeah, the weather, we couldn't have asked. It's supposed to be like 65 and sunny. It's the best day we've had in a while. So I'm looking real forward to it.
Well, good. Well, I've been put out a newsletter, and I went through and picked out all the gluten-free products. How's that?
Good. We actually I had a customer the other day that was going around, and he said that our gluten-free selection is better than any place he's really been. So we need to get the word out about that, and you do a good job of that with the newsletter and everything. So yeah, I mean, come on, if you're looking for gluten-free, we've got it here at Clifton Market. So
yeah, I also noticed you started carrying Maverick chocolate again.
Yeah, we that just came in. I think it was late last week that we started getting that back in.
So it's our own local chocolate factory.
Yeah, right.
We're always looking for local products, and believe it or not, the Hammerhead Bloody Mary mix is gluten-free too.
Oh, really? You found that? That's great. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and we'll. Local. We're bringing back as much local as we can. I just talked to the Barefoot Girl Soap representative. That's going to be coming back. We got the Germano's spaghetti sauces in. So we're always looking for local products and pushing that. And we always said the Chili Rocks he's been with us since the beginning, and he's great. All his lines of barbecue sauces and cheese dips and mixes. He's really, really great to have. A really good asset for the store. So.
No, I agree. Every day I go around and I see more unique items like Inspired Organics. It has a big presence here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a regional company. We get they have everything from chips and salsas, all the way you name it. They've got their hand in it pretty much.
Yes, it really takes the place of a wonderful organic provider. Mm-hmm. The end caps are all filled out. Everything, the store seems to be tricked out perfectly.
Yeah, we're filled up, and we're just waiting for people to come in. And as always, if there's things you don't see, leave a suggestion in the suggestion box. Pull aside one of the employees, the manager, and we'll do the best we can to find what you need. If we don't have it, we'll try to find at least a good substitute for it. So.
Well, yes, and as far as getting on the list, we're going to start an email list of shoppers to sign up to receive notices in a timely manner, along with the weekly flyer that we put out. So we're looking forward to establishing a new email list to go with the marketing of the store. Yeah. We need to
get the word out for sure. Any way we can.
We're going to start our own Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit accounts so that we can post appropriately. Even on Nextdoor, you can, as a business, you can post
through the account.
Yeah, we'll have the control of the account. We just have to be careful of how we promote on Nextdoor. They don't like a lot of self-promotion.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, any way we can get the word out. We're just we're fighting to, get that share of it's a grocery business is a cutthroat industry. So, and we're trying to carve out our little niche. So any way we can get the word out to get people in here, and just I think once people come in, they'll see that it's a quality place to shop, and you can do your weekly shopping, your daily shopping, however you want to do it.
Great. Yeah. Well, we'll see you at the opening day parade.
I can't wait. Yep, should be a good time.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. And well, thank you, Jeff, for that. We got a special guest BJ Rhule is going to be here shortly, talking about her work covering the history of Sam Cooke, famous R&B blues man in the 60s. He died, he was murdered, and there's a lot of speculation about how he died, and all it's dovetailed in with the record industry in the 60s, where the mafia really had control, and it was beginning with the jukeboxes, that the mafia controlled the jukeboxes, and then they wanted to control, and of course Las Vegas was all controlled by the mob. So if you wanted to perform in Vegas, you had to have a mafia sponsor, and the industry suffered greatly, hurting talent and taking the rights away. Even the Beatles and the Rolling Stones suffered under this process of taking rights away. I think we've heard a lot about that in the past, where the artist was given a small, minuscule amount of the royalties. And it was amazing what a ruthless lawyer can do to a talented artist. We can Sam Cooke tried to start out and be an independent producer, and it was at the time when it was pretty much a taboo as far as the status quo, and he suffered a terrible death accordingly. So BJ Rhule's been here. She's a Cliftonite. She grew up here and is now doing some advanced studies at UC, and maybe soon will be going back to LA to continue her work. I put together the Ludlow News this week, and I must say we didn't have any real news other than it's springtime and opening day. The Poppy Pup-Ups have started again, so this coming Monday you'll be able to, at 6 p.m., bring your puppy. Last Monday it was a little rainy, so it was called off, but it's always a fun time where they fence in the plaza and you can bring your puppy and have a great time. It's at 6 to 8 every Monday. We'll sit right down here and we'll welcome to the most exciting heavily produced show in town.
My pleasure to be here.
Well, I've been, you can introduce yourself.
Oh, well, I am author B.G. Rhule, and I have written this book, One More River to Cross, The Redemption of Sam Cooke, and it's in its 4th edition. It's a 10-year project, and it tells the truth about not just the life and the music of Sam Cooke, but actually what actually happened to him in terms of basically his setup murder. So it's an intriguing story.
Yes, it really is pivotal to expose the extortion of artists that's been going on from time eternal. And
very true. And in the time that he lived, in the 50s and 60s and even into the 70s, going into the early 80s, the music business was basically controlled by the mob. And in fact, there were 2 main mobsters, Sam Giancana and Vito Genovese. Even though he was in prison, was still running businesses from his prison cell. And Giancana was sort of in charge of both sort of Chicago and the West Coast in terms of the music industry. And particularly after Mickey Cohn died, was knocked off, I guess you would say, they took over that wing of the business. And what they did is they laundered money through distribution of record labels. So an artist, let's say, cuts a record, has enormous success, goes to look for his money, hopes he's going to get paid. He can now buy his mom a house or a car, and he is told, well, you don't own anything, because they open up these dummy corporations, these subsidiary labels, where they launder the money. Most of it goes to Vegas. So you've got all these sort of managers who are in place who are basically working for a middleman who is working for the mob. And distribution is where the mob had their cash, because in order to launder money, obviously cash was involved. So Sam Cooke was sort of wary of this and was one of the first, actually he was the first black artist to own both of both his labels and his publishing, and that way he could know where all of his distribution money was. One of the things that was very common with these managers or these labels is that they had promotional copies of records. We've all found a promotional copy at a yard sale or something, or they go overseas. Well, what they did is they would sell these under the table for hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes, and that's where they made their money, and it went back into the mob, and who lost the money but both the label and the artist. And so if the manager is working for the mob, he's cutting out both of these guys. And if they could own the labels, then they actually had 2/3 of everything, and the artist really had not much of anything. So, and it's very pervasive. I mean, it went all the way up to Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., all the way to, I guess, most of the pop singers of the 60s, and some of them to this day will not talk about it. When I contacted several who were on Cameo Parkway in particular, which was a label that was under scrutiny by the federal government, they would not talk about it. So basically that was what happened. They sort of set him up, and when he was on tour, his manager had this guy who was approached by a bagman for the mob take his label over by changing the titles, putting his name, his lawyer's name, his wife's name, taking Sam Cooke's name off, taking his father's name off, and basically making him an employee of his own company, working for the manager now. And this guy his name was J.W. Alexander. He was a labels partner with Sam. So he was bought out by the bagman. He later became a bagman himself. And Sam found out about it a few days before he died and was in the process of getting an attorney and having a press conference and sort of outing this. But he just sadly didn't act either quickly enough or it was too late to save himself.
Well, this is sounding like a great movie. How many movies have been made about this?
Well, there's been, I'd say about 3 or 4 documentaries. Here's the problem, and this was the one that was just on Netflix, which borrowed heavily from this in terms of the narrative. They all stopped short of pointing the finger at Alan Klein specifically, because then they can't get ABCO, Alan Klein's company, which is now run by his son, to give them the rights to the music. So, so the catch-22 is, well, we can just go so far with this story and we could say, well, he's a suspect, but it's probably not him. And that's where they leave off. And this book does not stop at that. It tells you that not only was Klein really behind this, but that somebody was actually behind Klein. So in the Netflix documentary, which is out, there's a gentleman who says, well, it couldn't possibly be Klein because he didn't have the means to work with the LAPD and cover up this murder, which the LAPD was involved in the cover-up. And I would take umbrage with that because I spent 2 days at the courthouse annex in Los Angeles, sort of an underground basement where they keep all the old microfiche from the 60s. And I saw the probate papers of Sam Cooke and Alan Klein and his wife Barbara, and Sam's wife Barbara. And within 3 to 4 weeks of Sam's death, he was filing papers to try to own Sam's music. So I think when you follow the money, that's very telling, number one. Number two, if he could afford to buy out Sam's partners, those people who had a share, these songwriters, Hugo and Luigi, J.W. Alexander, Barbara, then he had the means. Where did he get the money from? So if he didn't have the money, then he got it from the mob. But he had the money. So he bought out Sam's copyrights, bought out his labels. It actually basically squashed the labels. He had his wife squash the labels and then owned his publishing, which is where the money is.
Does the Netflix have any Sam Cooke songs in it?
Yes. Oh, yes. Quite an abundance of them. And that's how they were able to work with ABCO, who they did not want to be on camera. They did not want to be a part of it, but they gave their approval simply because they didn't come out and say Alan Klein is directly responsible.
Well, gee, that sort of reminds me of a lot of research of famous artists that the family or people involved, you got to be kind of treat them delicately so that you don't tread on maybe the bad side or the dark side of the family business. And it's true here too.
Well, yes, and I'd say one thing is interesting about this Netflix documentary is who was not in it. Because the people who were in it are not people who really were privy to much information. One of the first things I did when I decided, actually I started writing a screenplay and it evolved into a book, and then I redid the screenplay. Which I'm still redoing the screenplay because I've redone the book, and information just comes in all the time. And you know, I mean, this is about 55 years ago now, that this December that he will have passed, so that's a long time. And in fact, there are about 8 or 9 people that I interviewed who are now passed. Who are no longer, but I was lucky to be able to, you know, to get them in the interim. But so what I find interesting is the people who were not in the movie, people who really do have the knowledge of what happened to Sam and what transpired in the time that Sam died. For example, there is a gentleman who was a fan club president who mentions the title change, which was some research done by Sam's grandnephew, Eric Green, which was pivotal. I mean, I, you know, gave him credit in my book for that. But he doesn't go on to say who came up with this, and that was Sam's sister, Agnes. Her husband, Joe, was a prosecutor for Cook County. So he went digging for this information and found the title. So the family knew right off the bat. They also don't mention that Muhammad Ali was going to get a private detective and investigate, and they threatened to take his belt away if he went any further. So there's a lot of stuff that wasn't mentioned, which is very important to understanding the Sam Cooke story. And there wasn't much in the way of family represented there. And those elder members of the family who were alive and knew Sam, I think, should have been included, but they weren't.
Well, it's an incredible artistry of Sam Cooke. Makes you want to go back in the archives and rebuy those albums, re-listen to them, see the videos. Are there a lot of video of Sam performing?
You know, I wish there were more. I think every fan of Sam Cooke wishes there were more. For example, it would have been wonderful to see his live performance at the Copa and to see the Harlem Square Club, which was a small, predominantly African-American club in Miami, where he tried out a lot of his bluesier material, a little bit of gospel, and wanted to play to a certain audience to sort of test it out before he went to the Copa. There is a recording of Sam on The Tonight Show before he did the Copa, where he sang bass and street blues, which was phenomenal. And Renee Hall was the arranger on that. He did a phenomenal job. And you can see Skitch Henderson, if you remember him from The Tonight Show. He just was wow. Johnny Carson turned to Ed McMahon and said, "Oh, he's really good." And so he'd apparently never heard Sam Cooke before, and he was sort of knocked out. And so there is some good video. There's one of him singing with Muhammad Ali. They sort of cut a little fun song, "Hey, hey, the gang's all here." That's on video. So there's little snippets here and there. There's the Shindig show that he did shortly before he passed with the Everly Brothers. And that was, they're singing Lucille together, which is incredible. So there's little bits and pieces of him. There's, there was something, I thought it was Toast of the Town. It could have been that, I don't know, but there's that. There's just not very much. And a lot of those old kinescopes, as you know, were destroyed. So there's not as much.
Tell us a little more about yourself. Are you here studying, getting a master's degree or doctorate?
How did you know that? I am, yes. I'm getting a master's in theology from Xavier University. It's another one of my interests, and I'm really enjoying both the university. The people there are wonderful. I love the department. And I'm sort of studying both spirituality and trauma together. That's sort of my specialty, which interesting because Sam Cooke was the son of a Baptist minister, so you see it all fits.
Did you grow up in Clifton?
No, I did not. I grew up in Milwaukee, actually. But Milwaukee is very much like Cincinnati. When I shop here at Clifton Market, I see some of the same food I grew up with. A lot of, dark German bread and a lot of the things I'm used to that I grew up with. So
They got a river in Milwaukee, don't they?
They do, the Milwaukee River, yes. And the whole downtown area. You see shots of downtown when they show the Bucks games. You always see the Milwaukee River. So yeah, very similar. Very similar to Cincinnati.
Are you going to stay here in
Oh
Cincinnati?
yes, I've been here for 3 years now, and it's my sort of adopted home. Really love it here, and people are just very warm and wonderful. And what I love, I lived in Los Angeles for quite a while, and you couldn't. If you've ever been in LA, on a freeway, it's like a parking lot. You just can't get anywhere. And here, you actually can get somewhere. What you call a traffic jam, I call pretty decent traffic. So, there are moments, certain times of the day, but for the most part, it's nothing is that far away. That's what I love about it. Everything's no more than 20, 30 minutes away at most. So.
It's just a click away.
It
Sort of
is.
like buying your book online. Where do we get it online?
You can go to Amazon. You can get it there. You can also go on I don't have a website right now, but my email is bgrhule@gmail.com, so you can get it from me directly. I sign each and every one of them. I personally sign them, so I put your name on it and date it, and I mail them out myself. So.
Well, what a fascinating book about exploitation of young artists and the African Americans had it doubly worse.
Let me just mention that Sam, and I should have said this earlier, my mistake, Sam was not alone in this. He was not, as you probably would imagine, he's not the only artist this happened to. If you remember a song called Western Movies by the Olympics, there were 3 members that ended up shot in cars, left alongside the freeway. They were looking for their copyrights at the time of their death. Shep Shepherd of the Limelighters, who sang Daddy's Home, you may remember that song. Same thing, he was going to take Morris Levy, who owned Roulette Records, was going to take him to court. And before that court date ever happened, he was found dead of a bullet wound on the Long Island Expressway, slumped over the wheel. So Bobby Fuller, the Bobby Fuller 4, again died under mysterious circumstances. Gasoline poured over him, parked in front of his car. Some terrible, obvious mob killings that happened throughout the music business. So this is something that went on quite a bit. And I have to say, the FBI basically got involved in the 80s and went after a lot of this, but not completely.
Well, I guess the mob operated like they just sort of waved their hand and the minions did the dirty work.
That's pretty much it.
They weren't implicated in any way.
Well, greed is a tough thing. People without a conscience, people who are vulnerable to greed, are susceptible to mobsters, and people will do just about anything for money. Not all people, but there's a segment of society, as we see today. People have been indicted recently in our government who should have known better, did know better, and still took the money. So.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the bankruptcy of 2008 due to the bonds on the mortgages that were not worthless, and
Right.
how we had to bail out the banks for.
Right.
So the criminals were never prosecuted in that case either, because they just were behind the legal screen.
So true, so true. And I think what's horrible about rock and roll is, you and I grew up with rock and roll, right? So we remember when a kid, my brother played in bands from 13 on. He still plays music. He does scoring for music, for film. And we remember when kids practiced in the garage. They went to in Wisconsin. We had go-kart races and amusement parks and drag races. Remember those Sunday. Somebody was always, doing a Great Lakes Dragway. It was always where they had the Battle of the Bands. And so it was a very innocent time when you just had 15, 16-year-old kids playing in bands, and it was very innocent. And then this organized crime swept in and took the innocence away from music. And I think that's what's so disturbing to me. And that's why, in writing this book, my motivation is really to tell the truth of this great artist. I've always said it's not about me. It's not about anything else other than telling the truth of Sam Cooke and telling the truth about what happened to that business. It went beyond just payola, and payola even was tied to the mob, and yet the mob never did time for the payola. People like Alan Freed took the fall, and that's kind of a sad thing.
Well, it's a sad part of our history, but when you think of the great artist Sam Cooke was, everything he seemed, every song, came fluidly from him. What a brilliant musician.
He had a voice that I always describe like melting butter. If you had to use an image or a metaphor, I can remember as a child, my brother always brought home 45s, those 50-cent 45s, you got it, Woolworths, and he played the saxophone, so any song that had saxophone in it, he liked. And a lot of Sam's songs had King Curtis, for example, as a sax player. And I remember hearing You Send Me. I think I was in kindergarten when it came out, and I was taking ballet lessons, so I'm dancing around the living room. But I just remember always thinking he had the most beautiful voice. It's just funny how you can, might not remember exactly what you were doing when you heard a song, but you might remember how the song made you feel. And it always just felt so light and airy to listen to him sing. And I used to sing along to Another Saturday Night because it was just such a happy sing-along kind of song. And then I think, what always stayed with me was when I was an adolescent, my best friend and I, along with her older sister, who was always our chaperone when we went to go to these, all the British invasion concerts of the, mid-60s, and we were coming home from seeing the Dave Clark Five. And then we heard about, on the radio, her dad would, drop us off and pick us up. And so we always listened to Paul Harvey in the news, like all our dads did. And they're telling a story about the inquest. Well, this doesn't sound right, that they say he tried to break down a hotel door and kidnap a woman. I'm like, this, no, yeah. So we're 12 and a half and we're thinking this didn't make sense. Something was just stupefying about the story. And it turns out it's not a correct story. It was, they declared justifiable homicide at the scene without investigating. There was no chalk lines, there was no yellow police tape, there was no clothing at trial, there was no trial. There was an autopsy inquest, open and shut, nobody got to say anything, nobody got to question anybody. They just got rid of it. And that's a terrible form of miscarriage of justice, I guess you would say. And he certainly deserved better, his family deserved better, and all the artists of that era deserved better.
Okay. Your book will go a long way to make sure that we don't do that again, or at least to point out this to everybody, how ruthless and no scruples at all. The industries are taking advantage of people all the time.
That's very true, very true. Continues to this day, only we luckily live in a more transparent society where we have internet, even though sometimes social media can drive us crazy, but sometimes there's an upside to that transparency, and that people could not get away with what they got away with back then. In the Bible they say that which is done in darkness comes to light, and I think that is very true. I think those who set up Sam Cooke to be killed and to take his money and to take over his publishing probably never thought that anybody would find this out. They couldn't foresee the internet. They couldn't foresee his popularity to this extent. I think the song "A Change Is Gonna Come" is in large part responsible for that, particularly in light of the civil rights movement. And I was asked, in fact, last summer to write about "A Change Is Gonna Come," what inspired Sam to write this song based on what I knew, and I interviewed several people, including Sam's only surviving brother, David Cooke, who remembers Sam bringing the song home to his parents' house on a little tape recorder, and how they felt when they heard it and what he said about it. And a couple of other people in his life, somebody who'd known him for a long time, who remembers him writing it. And so this was Library of Congress who had asked me to write this, and you could actually go on the Library of Congress, I think /music, and you can find the article. Just Google "A Change Is Going to Come." But yeah, it was very fascinating to see how he evolved as an artist. And I think he started out as a gospel singer. He crossed over into pop music. They told him to sing all the standards because he was working for RCA, so he's singing Canadian Sunset and all these songs. But then he got back to his roots toward the end of his life. He was singing more, he included This Little Light of Mine in his performances, gospel standard. I always kind of laugh when we sing that in Mass because I'm thinking, I always think of Sam. And doing a few bluesy numbers, Mean Old World and some of those. And I think he was evolving into just such a huge artist, and that's the tragedy of it, is we don't know the end of where his music.
How old was he when he died?
He was only 33. Only 33 years old, yeah. And left behind a number of children who, to this day, a couple of them in particular have really suffered due to his absence, and still trying to find out truths, but very traumatic.
Well, thank you. Thank you, BJ, for that story. Do you live here in Clifton?
I do, yes.
I knew you had a Clifton connection
I'm
somehow.
within walking distance of this market. We're here, obviously, at Clifton Market. I love this market. I can't say enough about it. I don't need to do an infomercial. Anybody who walks in here knows how awesome it is. And as I say, it reminds me of my childhood in Milwaukee because of some of the great bakery items that are here. So,
Thank you. Thank you, BJ.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you. We'll see you in the neighborhood.
Okay, I'll be here. I'm going to shop now.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get that dinner going. That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you, BJ.
Okay. I bring it. That was fun. I didn't know where I was going with it, but
No, it was perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
I listened to your podcast that was done many years ago,
Yeah.
several times. So
I've done a bunch of them. There's one that I can't find. The gentleman died, but he was on WFIL out of Philadelphia.
right.
And they don't have the podcast available. I'm going to try to call them and see if I can get it. But yeah, it was pretty cool. There's a show in New York that I did, and I'm going to do Bill Gardner's show again on KPFK. You can live stream that. You can actually go online and listen to it live, or you can get the archive. I think he's on. They keep it for about 2 weeks, something like that. But that's
Well,
always,
eventually we'll see the movie. Hopefully.
that is my goal. That is my goal, and to tell the truth in the movie, because I'm not going to do something just to have ABCO sign off on them. If I don't get to do some of his top singles, then so be it. He doesn't own all the music. There's a number of songs that he does not own. So there are ways around everything.
Yes, yes.
So
Well,
we'll
that-
eventually get the story out.
Thank you for your mission.
Thank you again. I
All right.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, BJ. That's great. I forgot to talk about Rod Serling grew up here too. BJ is really a producer. This book was the state of the story of Sam Cooke finally out. So we look forward to the movie coming back when things free up as far as the rights of music and who's alive still. So we'll go straight to the news. The events here in Clifton for this week. Tonight at 6 p.m. At the CCAC on Short Vine, is the Sunset Salons, Urban Design and Planning. That's about midway on Coreyville on the east side of the street. They got a etched CCAC on the front, so you can't miss it. It's the old Hannaford building that's been restored. At 7 p.m., the garage has trivia. At 8 p.m. tonight, Sitwell's is hosting Brooklyn Ray music. Also, Wednesday is half-price wine at the Esquire. Going on to Thursday. At 4 p.m. at Trailside, there's a new event. It's called Kid for Birds. This is a program where you can bring your kids to get in on the ground floor of identifying bird sounds. So it's not a drop-off, but it's free. It's at Trailside at 4 p.m. on Thursday. And I believe they might schedule it every week. We'll see. No, next week I'll let you know. Thursday at 6 p.m., Lydia's open mic night. Also on Thursday at 7 p.m., they have a series of silent films, and they're screening at 7 p.m. The Gold Rush with Charlie Chaplin. Also Thursday is Thirsty Thursday at the Esquire. It's $3 beers all day. On Friday, Mike at Ludlow Wine and Beer has his tastings at 5 until everyone leaves. A flight of 4 beers is 10 and wine is 12 and includes a complimentary cheese plate. Also on Friday at Lydia's is Joe Atkinson. Friday at 10 p.m. at the Esquire, they're going to be screening Space Jam. And I believe you have to get a ticket for that show. It's going to be sold out. So go onto the website and get the ticket. Also on Saturday, March 30th at the Esquire, another one of the silent films, The Gold Rush with Charlie Chaplin. Also at 7 p.m. at the Esquire on Saturday, Best Friends, Volume 1. And there's going to be a Q&A with Greg Sotesto. At 5 p.m. on Saturday, we'll also have Mike's tastings at Ludlow Beer and Wine. And Saturday is Cincy Jazz Train at Lydia's. Also Saturday at 8 p.m., Cincinnati Improv presents Sean versus the World. That's in the Black Box Theater. That's across the street from CVS Grocery Drugstore. On Sunday at 10 a.m., there's a Trailside Bird Walk, 10 a.m. on Sunday. At 2:30 p.m. on Sunday is the Trailside Botany Walk with Dr. Conover of UC. Sunday at 11 a.m. for brunch is at Lydia's is Ron Enyart Jazz Quartet. They've been holding the fort down there for quite a while. And Sunday at 1 p.m. at the Esquire, another silent film, The Gold Rush with Charlie Chaplin. Going on to Monday at 6 p.m., we have the Clifton Plaza Pop-Up Puppy Party. It's from 6 to 8 on Mondays, weather permitting. Sorry that last Monday it was a little drizzly, so it wasn't held. You can always go and check out whether it's up or down on the Facebook page. So that's the pop-up puppy party on the Clifton Plaza at 6 p.m. on Monday. Also Monday night at 7 p.m. is at the Cincinnati Rec Center on McAlpin and Clifton is the CTM meeting. Now I haven't gotten a confirmation from CTM on that, but they do have a standing order of 7 p.m. meetings on the first Monday. So it's going to be April Fool's or not, so I think you're pretty well sure it's going to happen. Also on Monday at April 1st, there are 3 screenings, 2, 7, and 9:30 at the Esquire of Black 47. On Tuesday, also screenings at 2, 7, and 9:30. Black 47 is being screened at the Esquire. And then the final screening is on Wednesday at 2 and 9:30 p.m. at the Esquire, Black 47. I've got a feeling that there might be a class at UC. It's attached to that screening. First Wednesday of the month is at Lydia's is Folk Night, 6 p.m. And the last of this coming week's silent films at the Esquire on Wednesday, April 3rd, 7 p.m. The General, starring Buster Keaton. Also, the first Wednesday of the month is Sitwell's The Faux Frenchman at 8:30. On Tuesday at 10 a.m. there's library story time for 2 and up. And Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. at the library, story time for the 2 and under. Both of them feature Eric Davis reading stories. Going on down to the rest of the flyer. Of course, there's always the gift card here at Clifton Market. For a $500 gift card, you get $525. Also, there still is a coupon in the Clifton Chronicle. The printed edition, if you see one at the library or around town, it's $5 off, $35. New local products here at the market at Maverick Chocolates and GG Kitchen from Findlay Market. Their rolls. We still have the Indiana Kitchen bulk bacon on sale for $2.99. Many end-cap specials still populate the store. The new ones are Active Life vitamins and supplements. See you, Tobias. Please? Yeah, it's already done. You want to sit down and say hello? I'm live now.
You're live now on your feed?
Yeah. This is, introduce yourself, Tobias.
Tobias Curley.
Oh, great. And
How's
it working here?
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Get to help people.
Thanks for that suggestion of making a gluten-free list. I had a lot of fun doing
I was
that.
amazed how much there was actually, how many products there was, and what they actually could make it out of, and different companies. And that's Sarah, I think that's how it's C-H-A-R.
Oh, yes, the Italian company.
Yeah, like they got a lot of products, and for people, it just helps for people. And yeah, come in and see me. I'll help you out.
Oh, thanks, Tobias.
If you need, I'm also a cook, and I'll tell you how to cook it.
Oh, yes.
I've done that quite often. Yeah, people ask me how to make stuff, so.
Well, you have to come up with a recipe for every week for like the items that are like hot.
Okay, I'll try. I'll think about that. That'll give me something to do. Yeah. So anyway.
All right, thank you, Tobias. He turned me on to the gluten-free products here, and I'll read all the ones that we have. The local Hammerhead Bloody Mary mix, Daily Crave quinoa chips, Boar's Head roasted pine nut hummus, the GFB snack bites, Char vanilla wafers, that was the Italian company we talked about, Amy's pizza rice crust, Gabriella's kitchen lasagna, these are in the freezer section, Sweet Lauren's fudgy brownie, and that's over in the candy section, along with the Albanese gummy bears, also Char pizza crust in the fresh pizza area, Lombard rice cakes, Happy Baby Teethers are gluten-free, Lundberg quinoa, Ronzoni thin spaghetti, Hodgkins Mill brown rice pasta, Two Brothers Prairie Path Golden Ale. We're getting into the beers. Two Brothers Prairie Path Golden Ale is gluten-free. Green's Quest Triple Ale, Wild Ohio Brewing Tea Beer. They have two different types, gluten-free. Samuel Smith Cider, and rounding it out is the Joya Spirit Moscow Mule in the wine section. Those are the items for the gluten-free. On the beer specials, we have Christian Moorline FC. It's the orange beer. I forget. And the Wiedemann Bohemians, Special 6-pack is $6.99. We got the Mad Tree Rounding Third 6-pack for $9.99, and March 1st 6-pack $9.99, and then the special for the budget-minded student Keystone Light 24-pack for $9.99. Also, Two Hearts is having a beer sampling tomorrow from 4 to 7. And they're going to be featuring the Oberon. So the Two Hearts Oberon is on sale for $9.99. That kind of rounds out. Let's go to the top produce picks. As you might imagine, the produce is still struggling, trying to recover and wait till the new crop comes up in California. The season is moving north. Mexican asparagus, quality is good. Green beans, quality is fair to good. Iceberg, the leaf quality is fair to good. Onion quality is good. Potato quality is good. Squash quality is good. Oranges is the choice fruit this time of year. And the quality is good to very good. Raspberries, quality is good. And rounding it out, strawberries, quality is fair to good. So those are the top produce items. I always suggest making a recipe to go along with the top produce that's available at this time of year. Last week it was potatoes and bananas, and this week it looks like I might try to use some oranges for the top peak, and then pick one of the other items to go with it. Imagine an onion, green beans. I think I'm making good sauce about that. So that's the weekly flyer. As you might know, City Beat has come out with their best of issue. It's in the racks now, and Clifton had three shops listed. Local improv sketch comedy group. Number 2 was Improv Cincinnati. That's in the black box across from CBS. And the Esquire Theater is the number 1 movie theater in the city. So those are the 2 items that made City Beat. They didn't have a section for grocery stores, although it might be online. I'll have to look for it. I got a copy here of the of the Enquirer, and we didn't see anything in there about the market or Clifton, so we're just going to pass on that. Let's go to next door and just see what's happening with social media. Feeding rodents attracts more rodents. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if that's a sponsored. Emily Gourier of Clifton, welcome aboard. Matthew Grant joined and from Clifton. Welcome aboard, Matthew. Lots of free items. Somebody's looking for a roof repair in North Avondale. Somebody who needs some iPad repairs. Scarlet Oaks Rehab has a makeover. Mikkel Giannis joined from Clifton. Welcome aboard. Anna Snyder from Clifton. Welcome. Seems like people joining in. Helga Simone wanted to know how to copy a grayscale photo, so I suggest you go down to Robin Color on Central Parkway and have that looked at. Someone was wondering about the stone pillars on Wolper. If you go down Wolper on the right-hand side of the upper part of the hill, as you go down the hill, there's some interesting stone pedestals. And a good friend of mine polices that whole woods there and keeps it litter free. Gabby Wilson, welcome aboard to Clifton. Next door. Kelly Farrell, welcome aboard, Kelly. Erica Alexandria from Clifton, welcome. And somebody's looking for old wooden church pews from North Avondale. Let's see what else we have. Car break-in in North Avondale. Somebody who needs housework in the north side. Kelly Jackson's joined. Welcome aboard from Clifton. Olaf Schroepke from Clifton. welcome aboard. Also, Monica Adino from Clifton. Well, it's springtime, and many people are joining in. I hope they'll take a look at the post of the events I put on next door, just listing the free events. And somebody's interested in recycling tires. Emma Crisp needs a cleaning person, and Meredith Tromby at Clifton noticed a scammer with a vehicle. It's always a great use of the next door to get the word out about various scams. There's a sublet in Clifton. All the students are looking forward to renting out their apartment that they won't use after school closes. So that'll be a ramp up of available. Here's a studio for rent in Northside. And here's someone looking for a studio starting in July. So I guess they're going to have to look up that. Brian Kane, I'm going to end it up with Brian Kane. He says yard waste will resume collection on Monday, April 1st. It will be picked up every other week. Same day recycling bins or pickups are scheduled. The same day the recycling bin is then when they do the yard waste. So that starts up on April 1st. And thanks for Nextdoor for a great platform. Let's go to Instagram and see. What's happening on Tue Apr on Ludlow has a great picture. Somebody enjoying his books. World Peace Yoga has a great picture of a class. Petey's Pet Shop has a cute picture of a dog in a swing. Are you as ready for spring as we are? Our DIY, do-it-yourself bath stations are sparkling clean and ready for your post-play pups. Our groomers have more available appointments than ever, and why not grab an ethically made dog or cat treat or toy while you're at it. Spring, here we come. Thank you. Clifton Puppy Pup-Up. Let's see, It's Yoga has a nice picture. Discover how to create a yoga practice where you are now, no matter the size, shape of your body, or level of experience or fitness. For more information, go to this. They show a link on Instagram, but the links aren't active. You'll have to search out the title of that. It's Yoga. It's a 6-week series beginning Wednesday, April 10th. It's Yoga's new beginners course. 6-week series begins Wednesday, April 10th at 7:30. It's Yoga. Wednesday, Hatha Flow, 9:15 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. Core Power at 6 p.m. and 7:15 p.m. This is on Wednesday today. New beginners 7:30 p.m. and 8:45. Oh, these are 8:45. I'm sorry. So it says this Wednesday, let your inner light shine through. Yoga is a light once lit will never dim. The better your practice, the brighter your flame. That's a nice post by Cincy Earth Day. My brother Chuck is working on promotion on this. March 28th is the deadline to register as an exhibitor. Earth Day is a celebration of our natural community, and our exhibiting and vending members lead the efforts to educate the families of Greater Cincinnati on Earth Day. Online registration is open, and then it gives contact information. So you'll be able to get it all on the website CincinnatiEarthDay.com. Tue Apr on Ludlow has a cute little stuffed animals. Looks like octopuses. Another It's Yoga post. And, well, this is great. The strip really is showing out the best side. Of course, I just sort of only mentioned. I just follow Clifton Merchants on my Instagram, so that's why I get to hear all the news right up quickly. Okay, well, let's go to Facebook. Let's see what we learn on Facebook. Oh, look, there's a notice from Lydia. I don't know if that's going to help. Oh, I see. Mike Morosky. It's not on April 1st, so I didn't put him in anyway. So Mike Morosky usually plays at Lydia's on Monday, but not this Monday. Let's see there. Alexis Fraser Kane has a post on Facebook about Clifton, the pop-up puppet party. We have to have a what if meeting. We know we have a successful plan that works on a good day, but we are a little weak on plan B. What if the forecast is gloomy? What if there is a dog aggravating the other dogs? What if the plaza is overcrowded? It might have to talk through what would go wrong to have plan B and a decider. So this is looks like it's a good question. I know that they moved the Poppy Pup out to 6 p.m., but I suppose you could schedule it during downtime before things ramped up. But I'm sure that it can work out. Plan B is always good. Let's see what else is happening in Clifton on Facebook. And, nothing's really popping up on the front end. Let's go to Twitter. We might as well run out the list of social media accounts. As I said before, it looks like we're going to try and establish a Clifton Market, new Clifton Market accounts for social media, so we can get the word out during the trend, which may take months. I was speaking to a trustee the other day. He said it might take a year. So on Twitter, we got Cincinnati baseball. That's tomorrow, opening day. Jeff Brown and his daughter is going to be carrying the banner. Lots of Cincinnati baseball. Doesn't seem like you can get most. Can't get enough of the Cincinnati baseball. Well, that's about all it's got. Let's see what else we have. We did Instagram. Let's go to the News Record and see what Cincinnati UC newspaper has to say. Lindner College of Business names first female dean. Tuition expected to increase. And, oh my gosh, look at this. That's an old story. Clifton Market under new ownership, December 4th. How did we end up getting that? It's interesting. Curious. I guess I must have searched. I searched the news record for Clifton Market. So let's just search the record for just Clifton. See if we can get some. Get it here. Okay, Clifton, go. We got the FC game this Saturday. We got the best of Clifton. Well, it really goes. see anything. Let's see what else we have. Let's go back to the item. We got the News Record, the Esquire Theater. Talk about fundraising, Cincy Flags. So let's go to the Ludlow Garage. Sorry, I didn't get it's Saturday, February 2nd. That's all right. Here, March 28th, Thursday, we have JazzPhish. Jazz is Pish, featuring members of Snarky Pup. Thursday, March 28th. Friday, March 29th, we have Kenny Lattimore. Saturday, March 30th, Hunter Tones. Fantastic. And that's a great lineup. We got 3 days of music at the garage. Thursday, March 28th, JazzPhish. Friday, March 29th, we have Kenny Lattimore, adult contemporary. And Saturday, March 30th, Hunter Tones, all ages. So thank you, Dave, for that. And we're going to sign off now from Clifton Market. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Thank you very much. This is Tom Lohre saying goodbye.